Hi there, I'm Dr. Jennifer with Scholes Family Chiropractic. I'm a chiropractor, and today I want to do a lesson about the spine. So we're going to start out with a lesson, and then at the end you're going to build your own spine. I'm going to show you real quick what a spine looks like. This is not what you're going to be building. This is a model that we have for our office. This is a spine probably for like a 2 or 3-year-old. It's not a real one, it's a plastic model, but I'm going to be using this to demonstrate today. But before we get to the spine, I want to talk about some other really important parts of your body. So the first thing we're going to discuss are your lungs. So do you know where your lungs are? Yeah, they're right here in your chest. So I want you to take a really deep breath in and out. So can you feel the air going in and out? You just told your lungs to breathe. The next thing we're going to talk about is your stomach. So did you have breakfast today? I hope so. Your stomach digests your food. So if you ate breakfast this morning, your stomach is working to digest that food and move it throughout the body into areas that can use the energy. I also want to talk about your arms for a second. So I want you to move your arms. Be creative, maybe do a little dance. You're going to move your arms. Your arms can move when you tell it to, right? So every part of your body that we just talked about, and there's thousands of others, have to be controlled by something. Do you know what that is? I hope so. It's your brain. So your brain controls every single function in your body. It tells your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your stomach to digest, your arms to move, your legs to move, as well as millions of other things in your body. Every single second of every single day. And most of those things you don't even need to think about, right? Your heart is beating, your lungs are breathing every few seconds, and you don't have to tell it to happen. Your heart's beating without you telling it to. It's amazing how God created our bodies to work. So your brain is constantly telling all the different parts of your body how to work. How do you think that works? Maybe Wi-Fi? Wouldn't that be cool? It's not Wi-Fi. So those parts of your body actually kind of have to be plugged in, like an extension cord. So I want you to think about a favorite toy that you have that has to be plugged into the wall in order to use it. Or maybe a video game like an Xbox. Your computer has to be plugged in. Your lamp in your house. So think about a lamp on the table. In order for it to work, it has to be plugged into the wall, right? It has to be plugged into the power source. So in your body, your brain is the power source, and your lungs, your stomach, your intestines, all of those things, including the muscles in your arms and legs, have to be plugged into your brain. And so they're doing that through your nerves, through your spinal cord, and through your brainstem. So let's look at this chart for a second. At the very top here is the brain. There's a hole in your skull. So your brain is protected by the skull. There's a hole in your skull. Your brainstem branches through that hole, and then it becomes the spinal cord, which runs all the way down the spine. And then these individual nerves branch out of the spine to go out to every single organ, cell, and tissue in your body to tell it how and when and what to do. Most of the time without us even thinking about it. So that's pretty amazing, right? If I had to stand here and explain all of this to you and still tell my heart to beat and my lungs to breathe, I'd be in big trouble. Fortunately, we don't have to do that. God designed our body for the brain to communicate information down the spinal cord and out these nerves to every single organ, cell, tissue, muscle that we have, so that we don't have to think about it. It's automatic. So those nerves are pretty important, right? They're very, very important. They are vital for you to live. So do you think it's important for them to be protected? Yes, absolutely. And that's where the spine comes in. So your spine is designed to protect those nerves. So studies have shown that the weight of a dime, so if you go and get a dime and you put it in your hand and you feel how heavy that is, it's not very heavy, right? It's pretty light. If that amount of pressure is on one of these nerves or the spinal cord, then that's going to decrease the function of that nerve by 60%. It's only going to work at 40% of its optimal with the weight of a dime on it, and that's not much pressure. So the spinal column, these little vertebrae here, are designed to protect those nerves, the spinal cord, and the brainstem as well. So that's why it's so important. So we're going to talk about for a second the different parts. So in the neck, or your cervical spine, you have 7 vertebrae. In the mid-back, or the thoracic spine, you have 12 vertebrae. And then in the lower back, you have 5 lumbar vertebrae. You also have the sacrum down here and the ilium here. On this guy, he's also got his hip joint and part of his leg as well. So those vertebrae are movable so that you can do things throughout the day. If they weren't movable and your spine was one solid piece, you would be walking around like this. I'd ask you to bend over and get something and you really couldn't do it. These vertebrae are movable, so you can bend your head, you can bend sideways, you can bend forward, you can do different things throughout the day. So those vertebrae move, they allow you to move throughout the day, but with that, over time, with different stresses that we get in our life, over time, these vertebrae can actually move out of the proper alignment. So now, instead of protecting the spinal cord and nerves, it actually starts to put pressure on those nerves. And I plan on doing another lesson next week where I talk about things that you can be doing now, even as a child, that can help protect your spine. But as a chiropractor, my job in the office is to figure out when someone comes in, we do different tests, we do palpation, we do range of motion, we take x-rays to figure out if any of these bones in the spine are out of place and putting pressure on those nerves. Now, most people think if there's pressure on a nerve, you're going to feel it, right? That's not true. Only 3% of the nerves in your body actually feel pain. The other 97% are controlling the different things we talked about. They also are feeling heat and they're feeling where your posture is, but they're telling your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your stomach to digest. They're telling your muscles to move. So if there's interference or pressure on these nerves, it's going to affect the way the body functions. And as a chiropractor, my job is to put those back into the proper place so that the brain can tell the body what to do and how to heal properly. So for example, if there's pressure on a nerve in the upper neck area, over time that can actually lead to ear infections, it can lead to sinus problems, allergies, it can even lead to high blood pressure. In the mid-back area, when there's pressure there, that can affect the way that the lungs are breathing, so it can lead to like asthma. It can affect digestion, so in babies we see a lot of kids with colic. And then in the lower back, these nerves are going to the large intestine. They're controlling the lower part of the digestive system, the kidneys as well, the bladder. So it's very important that all of these areas of the spine are working properly. And that's what my job is. So hopefully after learning this, some of you guys will be interested in chiropractic and maybe want to be a chiropractor someday. We would love to talk to you about that. Okay, so sometimes when we adjust the spine, we use our hands to make adjustments, and sometimes we use an instrument. Now this is not nearly as scary as it looks. It has a little spring inside, and when we adjust the spine, we put it on the right vertebrae, and it just clicks like that. There's no needles or anything like that. So before we get into building our spine, I'm going to do a quick review for you, okay? So what controls every single function in your body? Your brain, right? And how does it do that? It sends messages down the spinal cord and then out these nerves to all those different parts of the body. So it's important that our spine protects those, right? And if the spine gets out of position, which can happen from falls, have you ever fallen down? I have a 12-year-old son and he falls down all the time. He thinks it's fun to jump and crash and do different things like that. From studying from long periods of time, we'll talk about some of this next week, from looking down a lot, from being on our devices, that can cause the spine to shift out of normal alignment, and even just emotional stress, which we know right now, especially for parents, that's a big thing. That can cause the spine to shift out of place. So that puts pressure on the nerves and doesn't allow them to function properly. Chiropractors adjust those vertebrae, put them back into place so the brain can tell the body how to heal properly, so the body actually heals itself. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing our craft soon, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. Okay, so I'm home now, and I'm with my son, Zach, and he's going to demonstrate how you're going to do your project. Go for it.
So first you'll need all your supplies, so a baggie you got. Then you're going to want to open it and dump it out onto a plate. So first you're going to want to take your pipe cleaner, which represents the spinal cord, and tie a little knot at the end so the cereal doesn't fall out.
You're just looping it over and giving it a little twist, right?
Yeah.
Good.
So then you want to take your cereal, which is vertebrae,
So the honeycomb ones, these here, are representing the bones in the vertebrae.
And you want to stick it onto the pipe cleaner. Then you'll take your Fruit Loops, I guess, and these are the discs. You want to do every other one, the different cereals. So just layer them like this.
Good job. Yep. So you guys can be doing this as he's doing it, and then we'll let him finish, and then we're going to put a nerve or a couple of nerves on it as well. And so I know it's tempting. These look super yummy, and you're going to want to eat it, but don't eat it because we're going to use it in a second. You know how I talked about when the bones of the spine get out of place and it puts pressure on a nerve? That's what this is going to represent, is one of those nerves that has pressure on it. And that's actually called a subluxation. We didn't go into that earlier, but say that with me. Subluxation. Excellent. So that's called a subluxation. That means that there's pressure on that nerve. And now remember, those nerves don't just feel pain. They go to all the different organs in your body and all your muscles and tell those how to function. So if there's pressure on the nerve, then it's not going to work very well, right? So what you'll be doing with your nerve, actually this will make two nerves. You're going to cut it in half so that you'll have two. And in a minute, once you get your spine completed, we're going to put this into the spine so we can represent that pinched or subluxation. Almost to the top. Zach has been getting adjusted since he was 5 minutes old, and he is 12 now, and he gets adjusted at least once a week, sometimes more if he's got something extra going on, or if he's been to Ninja Warrior class where he's falling down all the time, then he'll get an extra adjustment. And he's always been extremely healthy. So you want to finish the spine with one of the honeycombs on the top. So that's going to be the very top vertebrae. Now we did not do this with, that's good right there. Don't put me wrong with this. We did not do this with the correct number of vertebrae. So we don't have 7 cervicals, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbars. We just did what would fit. But you do want to leave a little bit of room at the top because we want to be able to put these nerves in there. You want to do the nerves or you want me to?
I don't know how else we can.
Okay, I'll do the nerves. And I'm going to loosen this just a little so we can have a little bit of movement. Okay, so we've got the honeycomb at the bottom and the honeycomb at the top with the discs in between. So this is now your spine, and we can even hold it with the proper curves in it. So you're going to take one of your, what is this? Licorice ropes, right? So why don't you hold the spine for me? And you're going to figure out where you want to put this. Do you want to put it in the neck? Do you want to put it in the mid-back? Do you want to put it in the low back? We're going to do ours in the neck. And you're just going to stick it in there. And then you're going to twist it. You can tie it in a knot if you want, but it's kind of sticky, so if you just squeeze it together, it'll stay right there. So that's one of the subluxations there. And then we'll put one down here in the lower back. You're going to put that around there. Twist it. Squeeze it. And there we go. So now this spine has some problems. These has 2 subluxations that need to be corrected. You can get even more creative if you want, and you can adjust the spine, and you can take out the pinched nerve, and you can eat it if you want. Excellent job. All right, so we hope you enjoyed the project. Stay tuned next week. We're going to do another lesson about how you can avoid spinal problems as you get older and as you're doing the different activities that you do throughout the day. So thanks for watching.